Hello and welcome to another Christmas winter episode of Homie Trains. You can see I'm up here in the training room. Not a whole lot changed since last year. I did bring some of the old tractors in out of the boxes, do some videos on tractors. I know some of you had a lot of interest in the old tractors, so that'll be something you can look forward to this winter. But today I've got this little guy, and I want to kind of go over Dwarf Railroad Signal. So this is really a tiny little signal, and you can see in the box here, it's pretty tiny, but these are great for like industrial spurs, areas where you don't have a lot of overhead clearance, like a tunnel. And sometimes, if you've got a spur, you'll have the green light showing where the train needs to go for each turnout on the way out. But generally these are going to be pretty close to the ground, and sometimes you might have them elevated on a stick, and they might call them stick signals or elevated dwarfs or high dwarfs. But generally speaking, these are pretty close to the ground, and they're down there because there's restricted overhead clearance. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook it up, and I'll show you how that works. And it'll be a quick video, but just something that I ran across, and I haven't seen anybody else really showing you how to hook these up, so I thought we'd do that today. So stick around for a few minutes, and we're going to hook this dwarf signal up, Lionel 027 dwarf signal. So something else you can look forward to in the winter, railroad series. I've got a bunch of these Lionel cars with Ertl construction equipment. So we're going to go through those, and we'll show you the different varieties of Ertl toys that are available. And so they're heavy cars, they're quality sprung trucks, etc. But we'll take a look at that in a later date. So really small box, probably about 4 inches by 2 inches square, and the signal itself is really small. Sometimes you'll see elastics on them just to kind of hold it together. It's fine. Underneath, you've got 3 tabs here. You have a contact, a 153C, some wires, screws, because you're going to have to screw into that. We've got our Lionel Club warranty, repairs. This one here was a 1991-1992 version of the Dwarf Signal. 1 sheet, 2 pages, instruction. So, 153 contactor, you got 3 screws, 4 wires, and obviously the signal. So in one of my videos, I had mentioned a bunch of tools that are really, handy to have for doing model railroading. And of course, one of those is the handy dandy wire stripper, and you can get by with the cheap ones, but this is a good one. This one's a snap-on that I've had forever. It's actually Blue Point, but sometimes quality tools are worth their weight in gold. So we've got these little wires here, and the reason I'm talking about crimpers is because in the manuals and on the instruction sheets, it always says just to make a little shiner and wrap the wire around. And sure, that works, but it's not ideal. What is ideal is to use these are fork terminals, and you can use the fork terminals or the spade terminals. Spade ones are closed. We got one handy, saw one. Or ring terminal. Some people call them a ring terminal or a spade terminal, and you got fork terminals. So either one is fine. The benefit of this one is it goes on and off. The benefit of this one is it doesn't fall off by accident. A lot of people do this wrong. There's different kinds of crimpers too. There's ratcheting ones, and then there's the Armstrong ones. And Armstrong ones are great for this. When you're doing railroad wiring with a lot of different accessories, sometimes it's good to have like a bus. And what I mean by a bus, it's basically a board about this long, and it's got a bunch of screws on it. And so each row of screws is electrically connected. So you can have an input on this side and an output on this side, and none of the other ones are electrically connected to this. So each wire that comes in has a mate on the other side, and you can also bridge those with little jumper wires. But if you've got a layout with a lot of switches, a lot of lights, a lot of things that need constant track power, then the buses are great, because that way you can bring transformer power to a different part of the layout, and then you just bring your accessory wire down to that bus, and it saves you from having to run separate wires back to the transformer. Then you got the terminals on your transformer have 300 wires sticking off it, and it looks terrible. So a bus basically is the best option for that when you've got a big layout and you want to run accessories to a constant power. That way you're not running it all with it back to the terminal. You go to that bus. So you could put a couple of buses under there, or however many buses you need in order to get the power where you want it. But for this, we don't need it. We're just going to come off the track power. So your first wire is going to here, and a smart person will run the wires before. So with an accessory like this, you can sometimes there's a notch for the wires to come out, and sometimes there's just an opening. So make sure if you're going to put terminals on that you go through that opening first, and then put the terminals on, or verify that the terminal is going to fit through. Otherwise, you'll be cutting your terminal off and starting over again. So basically, with the lights facing to your right is how you're going to wire this up, and then I'll show you a picture of this here in a minute. But wire it with the lights going to the right, and then it'll be a lot easier to finish it for. So I'll go ahead and wire this up, and then I'll bring you over here closer, show you how it's all connected, and then we'll test it out, and should be good. All right, so like I said, I'll bring you over here in a second and show you the wiring. It's pretty simple, and understand that in a layout, you're going to have these wires like underneath the scenery, either drilled holes here and the wires go down underneath, or you're going to have like styrofoam. I use like 2-inch extruded styrofoam insulation in places, and it just depends on the layout obviously, but I just go underneath that, but also make sure you can get to it if you really had to. Regardless, there's a thumb setting on this 153C. There's a thumb setting on this 153C that you're going to adjust for the pressure, because the 153C is a pressure switch. It's normally open, and when you hit it with weight, it's closed, so it will send the juice through a different way. You want to put that 153C under a tie, and you also want to keep it away from switches. Anything that's going to be, a little bit elevated, because you're not going to be able to get pressure on it. So switches are a terrible place, or near a bridge. So they kind of have to be on the layout somewhere where it's going to be normally flat. You also want to adjust that so that whatever the weight of the lightest car is still going to trip it. Now, I like to put these so that the trip is past the light, because in that way, a new train coming will see the light is red because there's already a train ahead of it. Conversely, if you put the light after the switch, as soon as the locomotive hits it, it goes red until the caboose or whatever has gone by, and then it goes green again, but that doesn't tell a new train that the lane is occupied. So I like to put the 153C after the light, and then put the light back a little ways. And that way oncoming trains or follow-up trains will get the red light because there's a train ahead. So you can see right now it's green. So the locomotive hits it, all the cars are going through. Once the last car is cleared, it goes back to green. So really a simple installation. Great little accessory for your layout. These are really cheap to find secondhand. This one, was in the box. There was nothing wrong with it. I mean, I see the elastics on the lights, but I don't care. So it's something really cheap that can add, a lot more excitement to your set. So looking at the back side of the light, you can see there's 3 screws. It's going to go, the top one of these screws is going to go back to one of the accessory terminals on your transformer, which I will slowly come over here and show you. You can see those 2 on the far left are the accessories. So one of them will go back here, going really slow so you don't get sick when I'm moving the camera to the top. The second one goes here, and this right here is position 3 on the 153C. So you've got one coming out to go to the light, one coming out going to here, and then you've got these 2 connections here. So what happens is when you've got pressure on this, it energizes across here. So this wire right here is now going through the light. And what it's doing is it's just changing the route of the electricity that goes through, because normally this will be green. And then when I put pressure on it, it goes to red. Really cool. Cool little accessory. And here's a snapshot of the wiring. Really simple to hook up. I appreciate you stopping by today for another episode of Tommy's Trains. I've got some more signals coming up, and I hope that you'll come back to see those, as well as the Ertl series that I've got coming. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.